Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with our NFL show. We do it once a week here on Today in Sports Betting. Scott, you excited?
Yeah. Anytime you can go through just sports in general, especially football that hasn't completely been shut down by COVID yet, I can't really say no.
No speedy sports tonight, Scott. So we're going to do a full exam of each of these and instead of hit our bullet points. So let's get rocking and rolling, shall we? A lot of neck chatter out of us. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're digging what we're doing here. We appreciate it. Of course, drop us a line in the comment section. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what you're playing. We always like to know what our fans are playing. If you're tailing us, if you're fading us, whatever it is. So, Scotty, let's start off with, shall we say it, possible Super Bowl preview?
Yeah. I feel like jinxing doesn't really exist when you're covering all the games anyway, so sure, why not?
As the Seahawks travel to upstate New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. Bills, home dog right here, buddy, plus 3 points. Weather sounds like it's going to be absolutely lovely up there this time of year. It's hard to believe. Total is 55. Scotty, I'll let you kick us off. What do you got for this?
So for this one, I'm looking at Seattle. I actually thought I'm going to be giving this out as a play of the day. Still might, actually. Not sure. I know some money has come in on Seattle. It went from 1.5 point favorites to 3. Totals pretty much stayed steadily at 55. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen seems like he's falling apart. Seattle's offense is cooking on all cylinders as they should be. And Buffalo, their defense has been pretty underwhelming as a whole this season. They barely beat the Patriots at home last week. Congratulations. I'll take Seattle.
Okay. Well, I feel like you may have glossed over a minor detail with the Seattle Seahawks. 358 yards a game passing, Scott. 460 yards a game total is what this defense gives up. And they've given up these numbers, not always a murderer's row there, as they've some pretty underwhelming teams have been able to break through some serious points on the Seattle defense. The Buffalo Bills actually starting to run the ball a little bit better, and I think you've given up on Josh Allen a little bit too soon, my friend.
I'm just going by recent performances. Allen went from potential MVP candidate to falling off a cliff.
I think this is going to be a slugfest. I think this game goes back and forth. I want no part of a side, but
you're telling me that a Seattle game is going to go back and forth? I really didn't see that coming. Every game Seattle plays is a one-possession game, every single time. But I still think 3's too low. At the end of the day,
points is a great plan, huh?
You know that late in the game, you'd rather have the ball in Wilson's hands than Josh Allen's, and it's not even close. And Buffalo's defense just is not as good as people thought it was going to be going into the season. Question is, can Buffalo match Seattle strike for strike? And I don't think they can.
Yeah, I'm going to play the over. I'm not going to get involved with the side on this. And give me the over 55 in this contest. That Seattle defense is horrid. Josh Allen will be able to have success against the Seattle defense.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right.
Maybe I'm just biased because I picked up Garoppolo last week in fantasy and used him against Seattle, and he was useless for about 3 quarters. From that same logic.
You picked up who?
Garoppolo last week.
Oh.
And he was useless for 3 quarters. I know that their pass defense isn't any good, but last week they showed up a little bit, so maybe I don't want to say that they're figuring stuff out, but they couldn't really gotten much worse. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I think Stephon Diggs is better than anybody that's suiting up for San Francisco right now. So.
That's not a hot take, so yeah, I'll agree with that.
It is what it is. Denver at Atlanta. The Falcons are a home favorite of 4 points here. 50 is your total. I'll go ahead and go in this one. You know, the Atlanta defense, don't look now, they've actually been playing a little bit better. They've given up just 21.5 points per game over their last 4. And, Scott, this Broncos offense is still awful. They just don't have much of a running game. They don't have enough outside threats. And it's weird. They're just not utilizing them correctly because Judy and Patrick are in the top 20 in yards per catch, but they're in the mid-40s in total yards per game. So, obviously, Drew Lock or whoever happens to be playing that week is unable to get these guys the ball enough. Like I said, the Falcons generating a little bit of a pass rush, and I think the Falcons at home. I just think Denver has no answers for that offense. The offense is still doing just fine. Give me the Falcons minus the 4 points.
So for this one, I'm kind of caught in the middle because Denver had a very nice performance where they came back from behind last week against the Chargers. The only problem is that they fell behind pretty badly against the Chargers at home. Atlanta had a couple extra days off because they played on Thursday night against Carolina. I know money has come in on the over from 47 to 50. I'm going to lean to the under here. I agree that Atlanta's defense has looked a lot better lately. Denver's defense, I know they've had a lot of injuries. Defense hasn't been that bad either. I know Justin Herbert looked pretty good for 3 quarters before they kind of figured it out late. But I'm going to lean to the under. I think that this over money is a bit overblown. I think that this game should be a situation where it's one possession late. I think this game should finish somewhere around 24-20, something like that. I'm going to lean to the under.
All right, very good. Bears Titans, Scott. Is that the next one up, or do we have the?
We can do anyone you want. We're going to go through
the next one is the one that doesn't have an official line yet. So Bears Titans is 455, 456. Bears are the road team here. Titans home favorite, 6.5 points, 47.5 is the number. Kick it off.
Well, for this one, I'm going to go with the favorite here. I don't think anything Chicago has shown over the last couple of games has really made anybody optimistic about the future for the Bears. I'm assuming you agree with that.
They've been pretty bad.
No, I know they lost last week in overtime against the Saints.
Yeah, I was going to say they did have a good showing against the Saints last week.
I was more impressed that they came from behind because they looked like they were throwing in the towel in the middle of the second quarter onward. But
right.
The Bears' offense doesn't work. They brought in Trubisky for one play on a read option. Now he hurt his shoulder. He's out indefinitely, so that's not going to be fun either. Foles isn't working out. Tennessee has looked awful the last couple of weeks, but they've also had to play a lot of games in a row. That's something that the Steelers have had to do, but the Steelers are just better right now. So I'm going to lean to Tennessee. I think that Tennessee is the better overall team. At the end of the day, it's mostly just fading Chicago because I know that they started off the year roughly 5-1 or so. I think they're in the middle or the beginning stages of free fall. I think this team's about to fall apart.
I would have totally believed that before last week. This Bears team is just they're a weird team in that they just always seem to be hanging around. They just at the end of the game, they just always seem to be right there for no apparent reason. The exception to that would be the game against the Rams, where the Rams just ran over them. This Tennessee team, they're a good team, but man, they just don't cover. They're a horrible cover team. I think this is going to be more of a grinded out kind of game.
I was going to link to the under as well, but I didn't.
Yeah, we've talked about the Bears' awful offense, and
Tennessee has no pass rush at all. But truth is, Chicago throws so many nickel and dime passes that they might force punts on their own right.
Well, and here's the other problem with them is Chicago doesn't have any running game. So to put it all on the shoulders of the quarterback, that's not really fair because, as you know, when you turn a team one-dimensional, you've certainly given the other team a hell of an advantage when they don't really have to defend against one aspect of the offense or the other.
You mean you're not a fan of Foles being the only quarterback on the roster when pretty much all the fans were calling for his benching in the middle of the fourth quarter last week? They got no alternatives. They're forced to stick with the guy that most people, including Bears fans, have kind of fallen out of favor on already.
Well, you don't really have a choice.
No, you have no choice at all. I'm just throwing it out there that it's not just us who don't like Foles. Even Bears fans are
to dance 30 miles out in the country. The only one left to closing time is an ugly chick, and there's no other cars available. So you're going home with the ugly chick. That's what I'm saying to you. I don't even know if I can still make that comparison in 2020. But
you already made it, so it's already out there.
I like the under 47.5 in this one. I think the Titans are going to want to run the ball down their throats with Derrick Henry. So far, Tannehill hasn't been a guy that stretched the field very much, although he's gotten better in recent weeks. But I think this Bears team plays good enough defense to make the Titans work for it. I don't know if they cover or not, but I do like the under 47.5.
Okay.
We'll take a look at the Lions Vikings, and like we were talking about before the show, there is no official line on this. What we've seen is Vikings -4-ish. And that's probably going to be the line once Matthew Stafford is cleared from COVID protocol and be able to make the start Sunday. Sunday will be the first day that he's able to test, so it's going to pretty much be a game time decision. But I got to tell you, Scott, I'm on the Vikings here. I think last week I told you before the game last week you didn't agree with me. I thought the Vikings were in a win or lose situation last week. I think they realized how dire their situation is, and I think they are able to play up to a high level again this week. I like the Vikings to take care of business against the Colts, cover the 4 points. That's, you're telling me you're getting about these days somewhere about 1.8 points for a home field advantage. So you're telling me the Vikings are only 2.2 better than the Lions. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I know last week I did agree that the situation was dire for Minnesota. I knew that they were off the bye. I just thought that they kind of mailed it in mentally, and that was not the case. Dalvin Cook came back, and he just took over in that game. Detroit, I
believe if I remember the quote correctly, Dalvin Cook is back, but I don't care.
Yes, that did not age too well. But, yeah, Cook handling took over the game. Right. But at the end of the day, Detroit got shelled by the Colts. Didn't surprise me. Detroit's not good. I'm curious if Detroit's going to actually pull the plug on Patricia at the end of the year or not. If they don't, I'll probably laugh because I don't know how he still has a job. Zimmer, I'll tell you what, he's a hit-or-miss coach because I don't think he has much of a ceiling, but he's extremely consistent, and his identity and his brand of football translates very well to this current Minnesota team. I know that the record isn't good. A lot of that's to do with the fact that they have Kirk Cousins a quarterback, and that's kind of a liability at this point. But I'm going to lean to Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in yards per attempt, Scott.
Do I know what?
Did you know Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in yards per attempt?
But not yards per completion.
Huh?
But not yards per completion.
Not yards per completion, but yards per attempt.
Yeah, so he can throw the ball as far as he wants. If it's not being caught, then it's still technically yards per attempt.
No, it's not. No.
Yards per attempt.
No, that's not how that works.
That's what I'm saying. So it's yards per – is it attempted throw, or are you talking about per completion?
There's two different stats. There's three different stats. There's average yards of throw. That's yard or ta or whatever the hell it is. Okay, that's different. But average yards per completion is just what it says. It's the total number of receiving yards divided by completions.
Okay.
Yards per attempt is total number of receiving yards divided by attempt.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be obviously going to be a lower number.
I had the math wrong in my head then. So fair enough. Good for Cousins. I'm sure garbage time has helped him out a lot in that situation. But it doesn't change the fact that I just don't think Detroit's any good. Detroit might go up early again because that's what they always do. They'll fall apart in the final three quarters. Patricia's just bad at his job. So I'm going to go with Minnesota.
All right, very good. Hey, we agree on one.
We agree on a couple. We just didn't agree on the well, the truth is you kind of passed on the Seattle-Buffalo one. You kind of just –
I've truth be told, I've got a premium play on that. So.
Okay, fair enough.
How about – can I interest you in a little Ravens-Colts, Scott?
I'm not going to say no. Both teams are technically playoff teams, so it could be a foreshadowing playoff game.
Ravens -1 on the road against Phillip Rivers and the.
It's actually a split. You said Ravens -1. There are some lines with Colts -1, so it's kind of all over the place.
Have you got now? Now I'm looking at Bet Online. I see Pick'em. So
I see Pick'em in some spots, -1 on some. I even see -1 for the Ravens on some.
I didn't even know if you're old enough. Do you remember the old +1 -1 days?
No.
Where regardless of what team you took, you were laying one?
No, I am not aware that was a
There's no such thing as a pick'em, basically.
That's cool. I actually didn't know.
You're laying one either side.
How long ago was that, like the 80s?
No, I want to say that was certainly into the 90s, if not the early 2000s.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, good times. So who you on here?
For me, I'm really torn for this one because Baltimore, they should have beaten Pittsburgh. I'm going to just call it out. They outgained them by, 200-something yards?
A lot, yeah.
They should have won that game. Now, The Colts looked really good off the bye. They're still at home. Baltimore's also had some COVID issues. I know Marlon Humphrey has COVID, so they're going to be a little bit short in the secondary. Do I trust Phillip Rivers more than Lamar Jackson? I really don't know the answer to that. I'm going to lean to Baltimore because I just like their overall roster more, but I can't trust Phillip Rivers. I know that Lamar was awful last week and he can't really throw the ball this year. He also turned the ball over a lot against probably the best defense in all of football. Rivers is just going to throw 2 or 3 interceptions against anybody. So for me, I'll lean to Baltimore, but I'm not happy about it.
I'm very happy about it. I'll take the Ravens all day here. Baltimore's lost to the Chiefs. They've lost to the Steelers in a game that they should have won. The Colts, they're not on the level of either one of those teams. I'm still fading Phillip Rivers. It's an old habit. It's hard to break. Give me the Ravens. Pick them or give me all kinds of that.
Okay.
Next up on the slate is a game going to be played right down the street from me as the Carolina Panthers come to town to take on your world champion Kansas City Chiefs. Carolina is a 10.5-point road doggy here, Scott. And you know who I'm backing? I'm backing the road doggy in this one. You know why? Because the Chiefs can't stop the run, and Christian McCaffrey's back, buddy. They're going to be able to keep that Chiefs offense off the field long enough to get inside of that spread. Will it take a backdoor cover? It might, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to put this team away. Give me the Panthers plus the 10.5.
Well, I have this game in a teaser for a play that I gave out a couple of days ago. So I'm not going to touch upon the side. I'll look more towards the total. Kansas City's offense has been great. It seems like no team can stop them, of course, because Mahomes is a ridiculous talent. Meanwhile, Carolina, offensively, they've been pretty hit or miss. They've been good at times. Bridgewater has been awful at other times. So you kind of have to wonder if he's going to be able to piece together against a Kansas City defense that has looked really good over the last couple of weeks. And I know that Kansas City hasn't exactly faced great quarterback talent. They faced Drew Lock and Sam Darnold, so I know you can't really buy into that one. They faced Josh Allen and a monsoon. So you have a couple of, performances, which I don't know if you can really rely on moving forward as tangible data, but I'm going to lean to the over. Carolina has no pass rush, but as you just talked about, they can run the ball, and Kansas City should be able to throw the ball for another 350-plus yards, couple of touchdowns here or there. Plus, Kansas City can also run the ball now with Hilaire and Bell. Of course, they're better through the air, but they can still run it. Overall, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'll lean to the Chiefs. I'll just lean to them with the spread, but it's not really a great lean or anything like that. Just a lean there. But I definitely would feel pretty good about the over because I do think the Chiefs are always a threat to score 35-plus, especially since Carolina has no pass rush at all. I would
agree with you. And the Chiefs, they haven't been able to generate much of a pass rush this year either. Now,
big question is Jones is playing, right?
As far as I know, let me.
Because he originally was put on the COVID list, and then they said he was at practice a day or two ago. So I guess he got cleared by now.
Chris Jones carries no designation right now.
Yeah, so he's going to play. So Kansas City's pretty much at full health, right?
Yeah. Let me double check there to see if we're going to miss anybody. Frank Clark is questionable. I knew there was.
Okay.
That was and Mitchell Schwartz is out, and Sammy Watkins is questionable. I think Sammy's.
Yeah. Well, Watkins hasn't played the last couple of weeks, and
Mitchell Schwartz is out. Mike Remmers has done a very good job, and Mitchell Schwartz is usually nails. And we talked about this earlier in the season. He gave up no pressures last year from his right tackle position. He's already given up 3 or 4 sacks this year and a number of pressures. Something hasn't been right with him from the beginning, and it makes sense that he's been out with back injury. I think that may linger. I think this is a better offensive line with Remmers at right tackle. They've already made the switch from Austin Reeder to Kilgore at the center position. I think that's an upgrade. I like this offensive line right now. So I think that I think the Chiefs are going to score. I just think that they're going to have a hard time shutting down the running game. So I don't hate your over right there either, but I think that's a pretty fair play. Let's take a look here. Next on the list, the Texans at the Jaguars. Jaguars catching 7 points as the home dog. 50.5 is your total. Yeah, Scotty, tell us about this one.
So I also have this one in a teaser, so keep that in mind. But for this matchup, I know that the last couple of meetings have gone under. I know that the meeting earlier this season was just painful to watch. Now Minshew's not there. You got a brand new rookie back there who isn't very mobile in Jake Luton, which just tells you all you need to know about how bad Mike Glennon is because he somehow didn't get the job after Minshew got injured. But looking at this matchup here, both teams are off the bye. Fuller's still there, even though Houston was dangling him, trying to trade him for about 3 weeks. This total of 50.5 might seem a little bit low. I'm going to lean to the under because until I actually see Luton do anything in his career, I'm just going to assume he's bad. Plus, the first matchup this season was a low scoring in the first place, so I'm going to lean to the under.
Yeah, I think that 50.5 seems too high.
Well, I was saying low because the line originally opened up roughly 55 or so before all the news came out about Minshew.
Okay, well that's I was still pounced on that.
Yeah, so it's already dropped 5 points or so, but the first meeting totaled 44. So I'm going to lean to the under.
Yeah, and Minshew played the first game, so
yeah,
I'm all over the under here too. I don't think the Jags put up 17.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I think if they can just slow down the Texans, I think they'll be all right. So give me the under 50.5 there. The barn burner everybody's been talking about, Scott's the Giants at the Washington Football Club. Washington right now is a 1 point.
I see it's gone up from 1 to 2.5.
No, I've still got it at 1 at BOL.
Yeah, but you have like heavy juice at around minus 128, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's mostly 2.5.
Well, okay. I mean, that's
I'm just telling you what I see from what I'm looking at.
Okay. Well, then the bet I'm going to make, I would wait. But if you want to take Washington, I would book it at BOL because
I'm just saying, yeah, the minus 1 heavy juice that is there, but for the most part, market wide, it's 2.5.
Huh. Okay. Well, because obviously it's going to be 1.5 next on BOL. So I've got the Giants at the money line here, buddy. Plus it's gone down to plus 121. I had it at plus 126. Or excuse me, I do have. Excuse me, that was another one. I have a 121. Yeah, I like the Giants in this spot. They're a game that's another one of these teams. They're like the Bears. You look at them and then you're like, I don't know how this team is ever in a game, and yet there they are. At the end of the day, they're just right there. I think this is a hell of a matchup. I think this is a coin flip. I'll take 6-5 on the coin flip.
I'm going with Washington. I disagree with you here. It's mostly the spot play for me. Giants have a short week off a Monday night game. Washington had the bye. It's just a ton of extra preparation for Washington. Plus, I know that Washington lost the first game to the Giants. I thought they outplayed the Giants as a whole. Daniel Jones had, 100 passing yards? I mean, Giants won because they had a fumble touchdown recovery late in the fourth. Washington ties it up, goes for 2, misses. Now you give Washington an extra week to prepare. The Giants have less time to prepare. It's a great spot for Washington. I'm going to go with the football team.
Okay. Taking a look out west as the Raiders travel to LA to take on the Chargers. This is the pick'em. 52 is the total here.
I'm going with the Raiders. It's until I actually see the Chargers not blow a double-digit lead for once in their lives, I'm going to take the Raiders because I don't know Anthony Lynn still has a job. I've been calling for his head for months, and now people understand why. He's awful.
It's stunning. It's stunning how bad this team is at holding on to a lead. It's his.
They rival Atlanta. In fact, since Dan Quinn got fired, they might be the new Atlanta.
Yeah, they've given up. I want to say 4 leads of 16 or more.
They're 0-4.
That's it's hard. It's hard to believe.
They did beat Jacksonville when they were up. I believe it was 16 a couple weeks ago. But they have blown a 16-plus point lead in each of their last 4 games. That's impossible. How do you keep your job after that?
This is looking at the other.
And I know you like Drew Lock because he's a Missouri kid, but how do you lose that game to Denver?
Oh, I have no idea. I even went back and watched that whole game, and I still don't know how they did it.
I don't know either.
It just I like Drew Lock. I don't think he's a good quarterback. I think he was a great college quarterback, but he's not. I never thought he was going to make a great NFL quarterback.
So I'm assuming you're with me on the Raiders here?
I'm on the over. This Raiders team that really does a lot right on the offensive side of the ball and not much right on the defensive side of the ball, giving up almost 30 points a game. Say what you want about the Chargers. They've got some weapons. They can throw the ball around. They may throw a stupid pick, and that may work in our favor. I like the over in this spot.
Do you think it's a red flag for the Chargers that they traded basically their best defensive back for a middle round pick to Tennessee?
To me, that's a real questionable move unless he was some kind of
It was for contract purposes because he's going to be due a lot of money and the Chargers didn't want to pay him. But
well, they did the same thing with Marcus Peters in Kansas City a couple of years ago, but they got a little more value than the Chargers.
I thought the Chargers got nothing in return. I thought they got fleeced by Tennessee.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that.
But the point is, the Chargers already traded their best defensive backs. They wouldn't exactly be doing that if they were in contention. I'm not saying that this is a sign that they're going to throw in the towel, but until Lynn gets thrown out of the building, I don't know how I'm supposed to take the Chargers when I can't trust them.
Yeah, nice guy, does a lot for charity, really active.
He's a great human being. He's a terrible football coach. I don't know what to tell you.
Terrible head coach. Steelers Cowboys, Scott. Steelers 14. Your Cowboys at home in this one. 43 is the total. Scott, it's actually my turn, but since the Cowboys are your team, I'm going to defer to you. What do you got on this one?
I'm going to defer back to you. I don't want to talk about it. You can go first.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and play the under here. I don't see. I do have a premium play on this, and I just it's hard to even talk about this game without giving away my play. But anybody that knows me and knows my history of backing first-time quarterbacks in the NFL or fading first-time quarterbacks in the NFL probably has a pretty good guess how I'm going in this one. I just can't imagine the Dallas offense being able to put much together at all against this ferocious Pittsburgh defense. They looked horrible last week, and now they're going to start yet another person. They got their fourth starter in 4 weeks. Is that correct, Scott?
Give or take. It's not.
You went Prescott, Andy.
I was trying to think if Prescott was 4 weeks ago or not. I don't think it was because Dalton technically started twice.
Okay, so fourth. All right, so yeah, I'm way exaggerating. Fourth starter.
It's fourth starter in like 5 weeks. It's not good.
Okay. Yeah, so that's Pittsburgh. That offense, they're designed to kind of grind it out, and they like to run the ball, like throw those short crossing passes and those short slants, and see if they can break a guy free. Dallas defense is awful, but I think at the end of the day, Pittsburgh just makes long, sustained drives and grinds them into dust. Give me the under 43 here.
Yeah, we're in agreement. I know, of course, Pittsburgh is the very, very popular play at 14 and a half, whatever it's at now. The only issue I have with that is the fact that Tomlin historically is atrocious when it comes to covering the spread against terrible teams. He's the letdown king when it comes to being a head coach. And you can look at the numbers on that. He is awful covering big numbers against teams with losing records. But Dallas is on another category. Dallas is so bad. Did they announce if it was going to be Rush or Gilbert, or they're still up in the air about that?
I think last I heard it was still up in the air.
I'm assuming it's going to be Cooper Rush, if I really had to guess. But I watched him at Central Michigan. I watched him in preseason for the Cowboys. He stinks. Gilbert, I watched a little bit at SMU. I don't think he's good either. But I'm assuming Rush will get the start. They can't block anybody. Pittsburgh's pass rush is going to go nuts. They're great against the run. Even the receiving core, Dallas' secondary is bad. I'm not going to overreact to their defense playing one good game against turnover-happy Carson Wentz. I think Pittsburgh can name the score here. I do think they're going to take their foot off the gas at some point. They'll probably win this game 31-7. I'll lean to the under. It's tough to take it over when you are afraid one team might not even score in the entire game. So I'm going to go with the under.
Okay. Dolphins, Cardinals. Cardinals 4.5-point home favorite against the Tua Dolphins. 49 is the total. Your thoughts on this one?
I find this a very tough one because Arizona's off the bye, so they do have extra preparation for this one. Their defense has been pretty inconsistent this season. From what I saw with Miami, I know they beat the Rams last week. Tua did absolutely nothing last week. He could just sit there, throw for 90 yards and 1 touchdown and just call it a day because the defense and special teams took over. I'm going to lean to Miami, though. I really like this Miami team. I know that Arizona, record-wise, and how they're building something over there is very impressive. This Miami team, defensively and special teams-wise, really, really good. And the issue I have with Arizona is the fact that without Chandler Jones, I still don't think they have a pass rush, which is a problem. Of course, I'm a little bit concerned that Tua hasn't shown me anything because he didn't have to do anything in his first game. But I really, really like Brian Flores as the head coach. And I'm going to go with Miami plus the points. I think Arizona might win, but I think they'll win by 3. And this game will be a nail-biter throughout. It's a tough one based on the current line.
I'll tell you, this is a situation where this Dolphins team, they've been undervalued on the total all year long. This is a defense that actually plays pretty well. They've given up so far this season just a shade over 18 points per game. 18.
Well, that secondary grouping they got with Howard and Byron Jones, huge acquisition in the offseason. They have a really good secondary.
Byron Jones came back, this has been a much better team, at least defensively. I think they give Kyler Murray all he wants. Of course, the problem is I don't see Tua doing much. That team had 145 yards total offense.
That's what I'm saying. It was a crazy win last week for Miami because they won sweat-free and didn't really have to do anything for 3 quarters.
Yeah, Miami's seen the under cash in 4 of their last 5 games. Meanwhile, Arizona's under's gone 3-1-1 their last 5. I think this is another surprising dogfight. I think that 49 is too high. I think it should be in the neighborhood of 46. I'll take the value there. Give me the under 49.
Yeah, I can see that. Do you have any thoughts on potentially throwing Miami into a teaser of some kind? Or you'd rather just tease the under at that point?
I don't tease through the 0 very often, my friend.
Why? You're teasing Miami. How would you be teasing?
You're talking about taking 10.5. You mean?
Yeah.
Taking 10.5.
Just a thought.
I'm at the other side.
No, I know all about not teasing through 0. I was asking about Miami.
Yeah, that's
And this game will be a 1-possession game, in my opinion.
That's probably fair. I haven't seen enough out of Tua to feel confident in the Dolphins not getting.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's possible. I think there's better teaser spots. I don't hate it.
I was just throwing it out there because the number 4.5 is pretty. It's a pretty tough number right there.
Yeah, that's no fun at all.
Mm.
All right, taking a look at the night game, the Hall of Fame, the future Hall of Famer Classic, Scott, as the New Orleans Saints head to the pirate ship to take on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers 4.5-point favorites. 50.5 is the total there. Brady against Breeze. Man, it was like watching Pacquiao and who did he fight after all those years? They kept
Mayweather.
Yeah, they just kept talking about it.
I hope it's not like that fight. The fight was terrible.
That's what I'm saying. We're about 5 years too late on this one, bud.
Yeah.
Both these guys. Interesting stat on Drew Brees.
Well, Brady's got good numbers. Brees' numbers are okay, but you watch Brees play and you can tell it's not there anymore.
How many passes has he thrown over 20 yards this year, Scott?
Do you know the number, or is that a rhetorical question?
I do know the number.
12?
7.
Oof.
7 pass attempts over 20 yards. And
Michael Thomas doesn't exactly stretch the field.
No, good possession guy. He'll take a hit for the team, but
he'll also hit some teammates.
We'll see. We'll see what happens with Thomas back. I know the popular opinion on this is to be contrarian here and take the Saints. I'm going the other way. I like this Buccaneers defense. I think the Buccaneers defense is far superior to the Saints right now. I think, God help me, I think Brady's a little better than Breeze at this time.
I don't think that's even close. Brady has – I know it's not realistic that he's going to win MVP or anything like that. I know that the mainstream media talks about all these big, well-known players for the sake of ratings. Brady's numbers are – I don't want to say comparable to MVP's numbers, but they're really good if you really just look at his stats. He's been really good so far this season. And I can't really say the same about Brees.
No, that's Drew Brees is definitely his accuracy is still mostly there, but he's
against Tampa, whose corners love they send pressure, they press everybody. I think it's a real problem for Brees coming up.
Yeah, that's Todd Bowles down there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
defensive coordinator.
Very, very aggressive defensive coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely true. Brady's 5th in yards this year, so he's having a fine season indeed. You see any reason not to take Tampa Bay here?
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I know people might think, well, they have a short week. They were awful against the Giants on Monday Night Football. Clear look-ahead spot for Monday night. You're traveling to face the Giants, who are 1-6. You have pretty much your division Super Bowl up next week because if The Buccaneers lose this game, then they get swept by the Saints in the regular season. Pretty tough to win a division when you get swept by the first place team. So I think this game is very important to Tampa. New Orleans, of course, wants to win this game as well, but Tampa should be very motivated. They're the better overall team. I know Thomas is back. I have to question the timing. Just not of his return, but his timing with Breeze and everybody, because he hasn't played since week 1. He got injured in the middle of week 1. Now, other than that, though, the Saints' defense, not very good. Not good. And now you have Antonio Brown coming back as well. Godwin should be back. Just a plethora of riches for the wide receiver core for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tampa. I think they'll get revenge here. I think they'll win.
How many targets does AB get?
Well, before we go to targets, what percentage of snaps do you think he plays?
20 to 25%.
Okay. I think it'll be a little bit more because this is an important game. I'll give him 40.
40%?
I'll give him 40%. Because apparently he's been working out and he's in good shape. I don't know if that's true because, of course, you're never going to come out and say, oh, the guy that we acquired, he's in terrible shape. Right? Nobody's ever going to say that. But it is an important game. Of course, I think Scotty Miller will get demoted. I think they'll probably move Godwin to the slot maybe, move AB to the 2 spot opposite Mike Evans. I don't really even know. Either way, I think he'll play enough to make an impact. I just think New Orleans' secondary is atrocious. So I'll go with the Buccaneers. I think they'll win by at least a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, good enough. It's I don't really know. I'm not sure I agree with you about demoting Scotty Miller.
Well, if you're going to use Antonio Brown, you got to demote somebody.
Well, I don't.
For the snaps that he's playing.
AB's not going to start. You're talking about as far as snaps?
No, I'm talking about when he's in the game. You have to take Scotty Miller out, correct?
Maybe eventually going forward you do, but I think Godwin's probably also going to be limited.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think in this position they probably share the snaps at the outside too.
Down the road, they're going to have Godwin, Evans, and AB on the field at the same time every single time. That's not even a discussion. You kind of have to.
Well, it is a discussion because we don't know that AB is going to be what he was. So
I still think he's probably better than Scotty Miller. Miller's fine. I don't think he's amazing. He's had like 1 or 2 really good games so far this season, but I'm not. AB's AB. I don't really care. AB's better than Scotty Miller in my opinion at this stage in his career.
Well, we're going to find out for sure.
Yep.
But we're both on the Bucs there, and that's what really matters. So.
Yep.
All right, bud. That's it. That's a wrap, as they say. And anything you want to add about the NFL schedule this weekend?
Not really. I'm hoping for some good games. Hopefully, we're able to cover some spreads here, cover some totals, stuff like that, which is the most important part. But at the end of the day, I just hope these games get played. It seems like every single team in the league is coming out with a new COVID outbreak every single week.
That's what I was going to say is a quick reminder to everybody. We usually do it at the top of the show, but I'll do it at the bottom. We are recording this show at about 7 p.m. Eastern time on Friday evening. So if there's some kind of massive COVID outbreak between now and Sunday that totally affects the games, we're not going to know about it. So that's we're just putting that out there, everybody. So if you listen to this Saturday night or Sunday morning and you're like, well, I know half of the Vikings team is out, but if they still like them, that's no. It's just as of right now. There's no major COVID outbreaks, and everybody's going to play at a relatively full strength, just the normal injuries. So, with the one exception of that being possibly Matt Stafford, but it looks like he's probably going to go as well. So,
yep.
All right, that'll do it. That'll do it for another week. We appreciate everybody checking us out here on Today in Sports Betting. Obviously, if you're looking for a deeper dive into any of these games, make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives into every game every single day. You know the drill. Get over there, know it, live it, love it. It is winnersandwhiners.com. Always fabulous, always free at Winners and Whiners. And for myself, for Scott Reichel, we appreciate you guys hanging with us this week, watching yet more episodes of Today in Sports Betting. We hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great week. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see you tomorrow. No, not really. We'll see you next Monday on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.